So that's how this all started. So Outcast Cat Help is responsible for helping the community with TNR, that's trap, neuter, return, with return to field in the shelters, with spaying and neutering, anything having to do with that unwanted outcast cat, providing food, litter, sources for trapping, for borrowing traps, trail cameras, anything, microchip scanners, anything like that. So when the disaster happened, we weren't that far. We knew what we could do. We knew it was going to be chaos, and we figured there probably wasn't much of a plan that anybody was handling the cats. We know they're the forgotten animal, and we wanted to be there to provide the services that we did know how to do. Not be on the fire line, but those cats, if they could have stayed in their location as much as possible, there'd be a lot less work for all of us other folks down the line 7 months later now. So we really wanted to reduce that complexity of reunification. So the coordination of your community, of your animal services, considering cats to be a priority, we could see that as a need. And we also knew that we had the resources that you might not have or might not have available yet. The donations hadn't come in yet. The traps hadn't come in. The knowledge wasn't there. So that was something that Julie knew that she could provide her expertise and train volunteers, the other program that we do very well. So as community members, we really want to empower you with this presentation and all of the things that everybody's been doing for the last few months, that there is an urgency that these objectives come to the forefront and that your agencies and your community are able to move forward what you know needs to be done. It's all a great idea, but now we need to put the things in play. And it's great that so many people know what to do now, too. Thanks to people like Julie Atwood putting on informational sessions like this, that many more people know. And you'll tell your neighbor and your neighbor and your neighbor. You'll tell the next person who'll listen to you. Therefore, this prevents those casualties of people staying in their homes because of their pets. It is important to think methodically in this and to have a plan, and it's certainly easier to do when you're not under duress. So we, again, put those things into play, thinking we'll go through a lot of this stuff today, things that you can do, things that your agency can do, things that you as a neighbor can do, but that importance of having a plan. So who here has a cat? More than one? And who here has a neighbor who has a cat? Okay. Who's helped somebody search for a cat? Yeah. Yeah. So I want you to be thinking about who is in your circle that you're preparing. Obviously, your friends and your relatives, but you need to have those plans with your neighbors as well. Learn those things that you need to do because your pets are your priority. You are thinking about it. And I often say in things that I do like this when I'm working inside a shelter and I'm trying to get volunteers involved, and I've got all the people, I'm speaking to the choir. I got it. And I put that slide up that has 16 cats on the bed. And everybody there completely understands. But I have to remind them, we're not normal, okay? But everybody in this room obviously is touched by a cat. So we do know the importance, and that's what we're trying to make sure that everyone values that importance, keeps humans alive as well. We're going to talk about a little bit more about those things to do beforehand, during. Obviously, photos and microchips are our big deal. We all know the importance of photos. Now that we've been searching for cats with infrared cameras, they're huge. They're huge. So an example up here of at least 2 pictures for you to have in your cell phone, somewhere, in your cloud, your mother-in-law's, because you might leave your cell phone at home. You might have to run out. We've had that happen. Or you don't have any technology. You have a lot of pictures of your cat, but they're actually prints on the walls in your home in boxes. There's nothing else, no more. Have that really good one. So those 2 orange kitties, that's the same kitty. But that's all somebody might have to work with. It's all you have to work with. And like Wendy said, don't forget your outdoor cats. You probably don't know them as well. You know you've got a gray cat. You've never held it. You really don't know that it has stripe markings on its leg. Okay. Those crummy pictures, obviously, I can't even tell that there's a cat and there is a dog in that photo. If you gave us that, good luck. Yeah, we'll be looking. Sure, we'll try. But super important for that. So I want you to show you, here's a real images here with our friend Gus. These two pictures, very minimal sightings we had of Gus. Around the Petaluma Fairgrounds, somebody had been evacuated there. Their cat got out. The caretakers there, nobody knew how to contain cats in the fairground. Who would? So we spent weeks and weeks with their trail cameras there, finding all of the cats at the Petaluma Fairgrounds. There are plenty. They all seem to be black and white, gray and white, or black. But one night we got one little sighting of a tabby cat. That has to be Gus. This is the photo that we're working with, the daytime photo that the owner had from when the cat was 18 months old. Cat's now 3.5. We had these two images. Not a lot of images, these two. These are blown up as best we can. And see with the markings that we're looking at? What do you think? Would you put your time and energy into, this has got to be Gus? It's the only tabby on the fairgrounds. It wasn't Gus. 18 cats later, Petaluma Fairgrounds, yes, you're welcome. All spayed and neutered by Outcast Cat Help and Forgotten Felines. But Gus, we assume, is now out in the community, in the neighborhood, and this is where we believe they are all going. If they were outside during the fires or lost in an evacuation, we have no reason to think they're dead until we find them. He's out in the community. Now we've just made more community cats. So one neighbor thinks it's the other neighbor's cat, and the other neighbor thinks it's the other neighbor's cat, and they're never going to bother to pick it up to take it to the vet to see if it belongs to them. So the other thing, now you're looking for that cat, I'm going to real quickly show you a kennel card from a neighboring county. But that's that little shot there in the kennel. That's a typical shot you're going to get. That's actually one of the good ones that you're going to get from a cat upon arrival that gets a photo. Was photogenic enough and not fearful enough that it actually got a photo. And that's what you're looking at. We'll talk later about what's on the kennel card. But here's the cat picture I'm going to show you that I took. Okay? Looks a lot like him. It's black, it's white. It's even got some of that side markings. Look at that little thing above its nose. It's the right shape. I'm going to be curious about that. I'm going to spend some energy and some time on that. But if I had some more information, I would know that cat has a heart on its back with that photo. So now I had two photos. Immediately, I call the kennel staff there. If they can look at that black and white cat, it doesn't have the heart on there. Those individual distinctive markings are huge to be able to know that. And again, your outdoor cats, you don't know that. I have no idea. I think it has a white spot on its neck. I don't know. But those are quick ways to confirm that. But you spend a lot of time just to get to that point. Microchips, please, microchip. Even if the cat's indoors, indoor-outdoor access. You do want to update your information. The shelter, your rescue group, your vet did not do that for you. For that one person in the room, then I'm wrong, I don't care. They did not do that for you, okay? Or the vet burnt down. This is absolutely true. Or the vet closed down 2 years ago, and they didn't transfer all their stuff. This is a true one. We're still working on that cat. We know it, so we know it's chipped, but we don't know the number. So one thing to do know is microchips are not GPS. They're not trackers. I can't go follow you around and know that the animal's down the street. Somebody actually physically has to touch it and scan it. And right there, if the animal is fractious, There's nobody touching the cat with a scanner. It's not happening. You may think, well, don't have to worry about it because my cat's chipped, and I don't need to worry about it. They'll call me. No, they won't. So to actually do a real good scan, you do need to be touching the cat with the scanner. Thank you. And thank you to volunteer Ellen learning how to use the scanner. But
yeah, the battery is rechargeable, so that's in the box too.
This is a cooperative one.
Poor Teddy.
No chip. Does that cat ever get out? It's still in your barn. He's in your barn. Okay.
But he is chipped now.
So the other thing I can't say enough, report that missing cat. Report that missing cat to Animal Services, any place that you can report their cat to missing services. Animal Services or any missing, your microchip company, even other microchips. Foundanimals.org, please. You can register your chip for free with foundanimals.org. You can report it there, any place else. Get that information. Get the number. You can put that on all your pictures. Do all that stuff immediately. Here's my tip, but take one thing away. I already told it once today to our sound guys. Thank you, sound guys. Make your cat a contact in your cell phone. Put that chip number in there. Obviously do this with all your pets. I'm talking about cats today. Okay? Get the company's phone number in there. Never have to use it, I hope. But where else? Put it online. Put your medical records. Take photos of your medical records, the prescription drugs, whatever the animal's taking. Get that, stick it in their little file online. Easy. All right, we're going to talk about evacuating with your cat. So rarely does it really go well with the cat loose in the car for any reason, whatever the situation, let alone you're under high stress. Now, keep your cat carriers in your bedroom, easily accessible, not taken apart, stacked together. I know you've got 15 cats and there is a place for it, but heck, probably have an extra bedroom. Just keep the cat carriers all stacked in the extra bedroom. So in a pinch, using that sturdy pillowcase, there's also products you can buy that are cat bags. We follow Alley Cat Allies protocols, their best practices, and that does say for your feral colony in a situation like our California wildfires or something like that, is to leave them in place, okay? And that may exactly be what you need to do. You gotta get out. You gotta go for the low-lying fruit. Sometimes they won't cooperate. Come back to that situation. Get everything that will cooperate. Get them in there. When you're out there leaving food inside, outside, food and water, leave a door open or leave the key somewhere. When our wildfire situation, kind of different from other disaster situations, leave that door open. All of us in this room here know we've had a lot more success with those indoor-outdoor access cats. Okay? In this situation, you gotta think about whatever situation you're in. How likely is it that your house will burn down? Nobody thought it was likely. I get it. You gotta make those ideas. Leave that bag of food where somebody can come find it. When you do report it, tell the people you're reporting where that food is. It gets to eat its own food. The rescuers don't have to carry around as much food on their truck. They don't have to ask 50,000 people to donate food and then wonder where do we store it. Make sure the neighbors do have access. You probably got one that's sticking around. This is why it's really important to have these discussions with your neighbors long before problems happen. But if they can easily find your food, that's what they'll feed. That's what's better for everybody. And it may be a while, as you know, before you get back. At the evacuation site, I think we were right. I think this picture was taken right here. But leave your cat in the carrier. Leave it in the cage. No, thank you. There he is. Don't worry about the litter box. Trust us. It's okay. It's okay. Just get through. The cat on the harness, great idea, but be aware, they get out of harnesses too. So it's just one more safety net. In that new location, in that motel room, your best friend, who are now your dearest best friends that let you come in their home, and they have 14 Rottweilers, but it's okay, you have the cat in your bedroom, you're all right. It doesn't need a wide, big space. Don't let it beyond that. Don't open the door because you see it wants to go outside and there's a fence. Oh, it won't go far. It always comes when I call it. Not when it's scared, not in a different environment, not day one. Okay. Those cats, they'll door dart, even on good cats at home, and they're scared, disoriented, and they'll run. That comes to those cats that you had to leave. You weren't home. You made the conscious decision to leave them. They're the outdoor ones, whatever it may be. When you do need to report them. This is huge. When we were following up on folks that have lost a pet, and they're telling me about their orange kitty in the house, and he slept in the bed, and we hear the story. Yeah, we got our own thoughts of what's going on. And then they tell you about the outdoor cats. Whoa, and they didn't report them at all. Well, would you like us to make an effort to find them? Well, sure, of course, but why they weren't reported, we can't figure that one out. But you want to give your complete address, the number of cats, animals, and any of those markings. Remember that black and white cat? Black and white cat with a prominent heart on its back, okay? Microchip number, even just that it's microchipped, huge. Collars, is there a collar on it? Sure, it can come off, but initially it had one. Is it ear-tipped? Well, that makes it a lot easier for us to see in photos if a cat's already ear-tipped. Spayed and neutered, and even is it up to date on vaccines? It's gonna save it some time when it gets into that shelter system if you've got proof of vaccines. The location it was last seen. I locked it in the bedroom. It's out in the backyard. I don't know. Location of the key and where they can find the food. And your neighbor's contact information. Again, your neighbors are gonna be your lifesavers here. And when you'll be able to take those cats. When our first drives through Glen Ellen, where Outcast Cat Help has really been helping in the Sonoma Valley, we came across this sign. And it brought me to tears. That last thank you. Angel cat feeder, whoever you are. We have hints that it might have been the folks from Sonoma Humane, so thank you very much. But it doesn't matter, whoever you are, we don't need the thanks either. Oops, did I do it wrong? So you want to know why we didn't find all the cats and find them all in the first week, right? You found the dogs, most of the dogs. So there's lots of reasons. Of course, the owner needed to relocate out of the area. That's a big one. They can't come back yet. The behaviors changed. So we all thought we'd be able to go get Fluffy just fine, comes when you call him all the time. But now he's got PTSD. There's nothing left, and it smells awful, and nobody's home. We're talking to a lot of people who just emotionally and physically cannot do this. Whether it was early on or months later, they've shut down. Okay. Your neighbors say, nope, there's no cats. They're not lying. There's no reason to think they're lying, but they're coming out at night. And that takes a whole special energy to do that. We all can't do that. Assuming that the cat is dead, if you didn't find the remains, it probably has survived. Not all those animals out there are actually predators. And actually the cats could have moved farther. Could have been chased by those fires, been chased by the fire trucks. So now they're a lot farther than the typical. In a normal I've lost my cat situation, we're talking about 500 yards. What we've seen here is easily we're at the 1,500, 2,000 yards. Okay? And lost at the evacuation location. So what needs to happen to keep those animals in place? What we call placeholders. So helping your cat remain in the area. You want to continue those feeding stations, so you've left that food out, get those neighbors to help you bring that food back in, or continue to feed them if you can't get there. However often you can get there. Getting there once a week is better than never getting there at all. So just because you can't get there every day, you're still going to have cats stay in the area. And if it's not your own, it's your neighbors. You're helping your neighbors, okay? When you return to the home site, your presence actually brings them out. Get some help. We're everywhere, okay? Your volunteers are in the neighborhood. Your friends are on Facebook. They're willing to help. Get help, get help, get help. Call and physically check those shelters. Post on your social media, the next door, all those groups. Every one of them. You created it, now post on them. The lost and pet sites, those are awesome, and they'll stay there forever. And those missing signs and distribute flyers, we'll talk about signs in a minute. Here's a big thing, when you are allowed back in safely, nothing I've said here says go in and do anything illegally or what you shouldn't be doing. That's not good. But when you are allowed back in, think about, what do you think happened to your cat? You know, yes, we've heard the story. It was in the upstairs bedroom above the garage. We looked outside. My driveway's on fire. Everything's orange. We went downstairs, got in the car. Couldn't even get the car out of the garage. We left the cat in the bedroom thinking that was the safest place. I come back 2 hours later. There's this much of the house. Sure is reasonable to understand that one, okay? But if you know it was outside, there's something else to think about there. And what is your cat's behavior like? Is he curious? Is he gonna go looking for the neighbors? You know, all these little parts, we're gonna ask you as professionals trying to get this information so that we can get your cat back as fast as possible, but you can do all of this stuff yourself. And you can help your neighbors do all of this stuff themselves. But bring that carrier with you, because you might get lucky. But please remember, you're getting a cat that's scared. I don't care, it's your best. You've raised it since it was bottle fed. It could still bite you. That bite needs to be quarantined. So you want to do things as safe as possible. And always the most humane way to catch a cat is with a humane trap. Some of the effective things for you to do, you want those big signs. Simple as that. I'm driving by, oh, it's a lost cat. That's black. Oh, yeah, I saw one. I'm going to go back and get the number. I don't need to know that it likes to sleep under the bed at night. Nothing on that sign at all. You don't have a picture at all because they all burnt up. Just state what it is. What am I looking for? PG&E's on that property every day. Maybe they'll call you because I think I saw a black cat and I think it might have had a bushy tail. Those are all those leads. Those are much better than anything else. But talk to your neighbors, talk to your neighbors. Other organizations, missingpetpartnership.org, missionreunite.org, they're there to give you information and advice. Lost Cat Finder specifically helps you find your pet. She's written a book, read her book. All these things will help you beyond what I'm telling you about right now. So a lot of you here probably spent a lot of time researching on the computer, matching those pictures, right? It's time consuming. We're still doing it. I'm going to teach you how to read that kennel card and why it's so difficult. So, number one, you're physically checking that shelter, and maybe you have this card here, or maybe you'll see this online. This is Pet Harbor. It's a site that most of the shelters use to post the animals that are come in found stray or are available for adoption. That's two different categories to search. So it's got an A number. All California shelters have an A number. Anybody who uses Chameleon has an A number. But if the cat's been there a long time, they may have named it Fluffy. And I'll tell you how many times it says Fluffy on that kennel, and somebody walks right by, they're looking for their cat, and go, well, that's not his name. Oh my God, the shelter named it. It's okay. It was super fluffy, so we call it Fluffy. It has an unknown gender, or it has the wrong gender. Black. They've listed this cat as black. If you were just calling and you tell them you have a black and white cat, you as the public don't know that the shelter lists black and white cats as black. It's the dominant color, but it's black. So short hair. Anybody who's not a cat person who works in an animal shelter will tell me a different description of domestic short hair, domestic medium hair, domestic long hair. Let me tell you, nobody uses domestic medium hair. It's short or it's long. I don't care if it's Maine Coon, it's still domestic long hair. Age unknown, or it's wrong. Between the ages of 2 and 10, huge guess on shelter staff. And that's assuming a cat let them open their mouth, okay? Most of them don't, okay? So please go, walk those kennels, learn to read those cards, believe they may be incorrect, and keep looking twice. Julia tell you she's walked right by her cat in the shelter. When that happens to the experts, it happens, okay? When you do find a cat, there's so much you can do. Here's that sleuthing. This This can be the fun part, but it's not always the great happy endings. But bring it to a vet, to a shelter, get the microchip scanned. If it doesn't have one, then we move from there. If it does have one, you want to work on all that contact information that you've gotten. And you want to ask for more. I don't care if the company doesn't want to give you more, get more, okay? Find out who implanted that chip. So Marin Humane implanted the chip. Maybe I'll get more information out of Marin Humane, okay? Call Marin Humane. Oh yeah, we implanted that chip, but no, it wasn't when we adopted. It was a client that came off the street. Okay, they had 2 other cats. Oh, can you look up those 2 other cats? Is there an alternative phone number on one of those cats? All those things. Where's the address? Search the address. The address is in Fairfax. Now Google the address. Are they homeowners? If they're homeowners, there's probably a list of kin. Go find their name. Not only is there Kathy Anderson, but there's Bob Anderson, there's Riley Anderson, and Riley lives in this town. Maybe it's in their home. I'll call that number. There's so many things you can do. The other big thing not to do is assuming that missing pet is, the chip is incorrect or not updated, that the people are bad. Because believe me, no one knows what to do with a microchip. We just don't. It's tribal knowledge in our industry, but it's not to everybody. And again, even if you knew something about a microchip or that your cat had a microchip, you thought somebody else updated it, gave that information. Usually they're spayed and neutered if they're chipped, because it means it probably got to a vet at some point, so that's a nice little piece of information that you can get at one point. And of course the ear tip. The ear tip, and that's that clipped ear right here, universal sign that the cat is altered. Not a universal sign that the cat is fractious or feral, but that it is altered, okay? But we do that to all cats that are returned to where they live. Monitoring for cats, all the folks in the area have come up with these great little feeding stations. The easiest thing to do are those plastic storage boxes on their side, tape the lid on top, you make a little bigger hat for when it starts to rain, keeping that dry food in there. You want to get those cats to come to an area so that now you can see who's coming. And then you want to put a motion-activated camera on there, a night vision camera, because they come at night. We have all this stuff we can show you over at the table over here, how it works, how trail cameras work, how traps work, things like that. But you do want to determine the cat's pattern. So this is your own cat, you're helping your neighbor, you're citizens of the area, there's great cat heroes out there making these cat traps every night. You don't even know these people, you do it every night, you're awesome. But you want to encourage that cat to come when you can do it, okay? We do all have lives. It's easier in dusk, daytime. There's less wildlife critters. The whole skunk stuff, it takes special people like Julie Linford to get the skunk out of the trap. Don't call her, she doesn't want to do it anymore and she has to. But by having that information, you know. The skunk always comes at 11. But the cat sometimes comes at 6 and sometimes comes at 3 a.m. Okay, well, let's try to teach the cat to come when we want it to come. So trapping, obviously the humane trap is the best way to catch that cat. And you can train the cat to eat out of the trap when you want it to eat. And this is, again, huge. This is going to save your time. So whatever you want the animal to do, that's what you want to train it to do. So setting up your trap and then putting the food, 3 feet away, that's not what we want. We want the cat to go into the trap. We want the cat to go into the back of the trap, step on the plate, trigger the trap. So that's where you're going to train it. You can zip tie the trap open, so you can do this for a couple of nights because you can only go trap on Sunday night. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can feed it and train it to eat there. And now it's got the pattern down. And now on your trail camera, you can see what time it comes. So on Sunday night when you get out there, he's going to come nice at 7 o'clock and you can go to bed, right? You do want to be nearby. It's kind of torturous on the cat to be thrashing in that cage any longer than it needs to, so you want to get a towel on it immediately. So you want to be in earshot, you want to be in visual shot. This is not something you set up at 7 o'clock and go to bed and come back again at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's that's why it takes all your neighbors and all your friends and all your volunteers to help do this stuff, because not everybody can do it every day, okay? When a cat's in a trap, it should always be covered. So when we don't want to trap something, because we know what does come in that time frame, we use what's called a drop trap. We've got one over here. We have a remote trigger. It can be 200 yards away. But part of that is knowing, is the cat in the trap? So the other things we'll do is we'll set up alerts, driveway alerts that are actually in the trap. We can tell when an animal's there. You can set up texting cameras. You can set up your Nest camera. That's been a wonderful tool. That whole industry has just got to skyrocket, this year. We should just get a Nest camera. Just keep your Amazon packages and keep your cats. It'll be good. Okay. But we'll be happy to show you how to use this. It's a lot of fun kind of thing. But you get that cat that one time that you want, not the skunk. The skunk can go right in. Or the raccoon. So there's our tripod friend we get to know. You start naming the wildlife because you see them every day, right? He's got a bad gimpy leg. There are 3 other cats that live on the fairgrounds. They don't hang out with him. He's ostracized. He's an outcast. We understand him. Okay. Big, big, big. You don't want to catch your neighbor's cat or anything that's not your target. We're not in the business of removing animals. We're here to help get the animal back where it's wanted. So that's important to know your neighbors. Back to those original conversations in the beginning. know what your neighbors have. Be aware. Cats have a large territory. So just because you see a cat roaming around, it's not lost. It's probably the neighborhood cat. Charlie probably eats at 10 different homes. 9 of them are now gone. What are we doing? Okay. So be sure you know who you're trapping. Have that in advance, that thinking your neighbors do have cats, know who they are. Okay. In the areas that have the continuous trapping, such as these fire devastated areas, get the groups to get you those red collars. If you can get your neighbors to put that collar on, that's an immediate visual. We don't need to trap that cat. It has a home. It lives here. Okay. They can't tell you. We don't want to take them out of the area at all, ever. All right, here's my big thing. You need a plan. So really slow down and think, what are we doing once that cat's in a trap? It's not okay to think about that after the fact or after you've got 42 in your bathroom. Yesterday we learned at the emergency training, high risk, low frequency. So we really want to plan that out. What are you doing? What's going to happen once that cat's in the trap? What's the handoff? Obviously the owner, just like the big animals, is the optimal handoff. But you plan it out. We work with Forgotten Felines in your area for spay neuter. They don't want to house the cat any longer than they need to house the cat. They only do spay neuter one day a week. Let's get them to do more, but in any case, plan that out. How am I going to get it to them? Don't want to trap on a Friday if I could just as easily trap on a Sunday or a Monday. Okay, it doesn't matter to you. We'll be happy to teach you how to house cats in a trap for a night or two. Just come on over, talk to us, get help from the experts. It all can be done, and it can be done humanely. Okay? Plan for when that shelter's full. You can't give them one more cat they can't take. You're just adding to the problem, and its likelihood of returning back to its neighborhood, to its family, is to not be in the shelter. So are you going to foster it? Are you going to hold on to it? The owner says, yes, I want the cat, but I'm in Southern California for the next 3 weeks, and all my friends are gone. They can't take it either. Well, okay. Somebody in your circle is now working on that. So it may take some time to determine if the cat's owner can be reunited, so you got to think about that. But once it's been confirmed that it's not a missing cat, it does live in that area, it needs to get altered if it's not already, and released back to where it was found. The cat's much likely to find its way back home, If that cat's in good health, it's considered to have a good body score. It has a food source there. It had a food source. It will continue to thrive. And just remember this, less than 2% of cats that are brought into a shelter are ever reclaimed. So this is the most effective way to get cats home. This part always gives me a little tear too. Oops, sorry. Thank you.
It was a pleasure meeting you, fella.
Off into the sun.
Yeah. Sun and clean themselves. Wow, look at that.
This is at the Petaluma Fairgrounds where we found not Gus, but all those other cats, that's where they live. They're all altered. The staff is all very much aware of what's there. And once you take animals away, other animals are going to come in. So if we just took away all those 18 cats, there's going to be 18 more cats that come in, and they're not going to be altered. They're not going to know who's who. So it will diminish on its own, but you can't just take them away. Okay. So in the case of a disaster affecting an area that's now less populated than it used to be, obviously cat resources do need to be thought about, even if it does have a good body score. So we're not being naive to this. It's all parts of the information that you're collecting. But relocating, just like, oh, we'll just put it in a new barn cat home. Ellen, how many barn cat homes do you have besides your home? Okay, there's only so many that'll fit in that barn cat home. We try. Those really need to be saved as the last resort, okay? There's no other positive outcomes for this cat. There are few locations. Putting a cat in a new area needs to learn new dangers, new hierarchies. So we've always said, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know. So if there's a food source, it really needs to stay. Save those spaces for those that cannot have a cat back. Again, that cat that's been living there may not necessarily be the feral cat. He may be the neighborhood cat. But please remember, it's illegal to release a cat in an unfamiliar location. So if your brother-in-law decides he doesn't like the neighbor's cat and goes down the street to, some vineyard, oh, it looks like a nice place, call animal control, please. That's abandonment. It's not cool. And the animal likely will not survive. Best part of our day, obviously, is reunification. But still, even with all those parts, us as strangers deciding when do we let people know that we think we found their cat? What do we do? Let's cross all our T's, dot all our I's, using all that information you've already collected, all the information you now have now that you physically have the cat. Let's be sure. They don't need another roller coaster, another letdown. That's ouch, okay? But also please follow the law. So by that, you need to give the animal back to who is registered. Always request that permission to post those photos. But boy, can't you just look at that over and over and over and over and over again? And luckily we do. What's come out of this and makes my heart just tingle is the community awareness. The cats that are still missing and presumed alive may have been absorbed into the community. This is how we get more community cats. So it's really going to be up to your neighbors now to confirm if they see a cat, to make that effort. Is this a cat that belongs here? Whose is this? That whole new awareness. We weren't thinking that before. We think that with a dog. Oh, there's a loose dog. I got to go get it. You see that loose cat? Oh, that's so cool. The fairgrounds have a cat. Right? We don't do anything. So that's fine. But take some photos if you're that finder. Have it. So please report those cats to Animal Services. What they don't know, they can't help with. Okay? Post those found cats on your social media. Tell your groups, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Seek help if you need trapping. Okay? We want to get those cats home. Your community is so much more aware now. It's incredible. So, your neighbors, I want to live in Glen Ellen. You have the coolest people here. So this particular kitty we found because of their personal Nest camera. That big image there is the cat returning later on after we spent weeks trying to catch it. And we did. We called it Babyface because we were also following another cat that looked exactly like it. Haha, cats look alike. But realized that cat was a little bit more mature, so this one looked like him but had a baby face. So she's been returned to that house. She's one of the few standing homes on Henno Road in Glen Ellen. Awesome neighbor. These are the people that know their neighbors lost everything, and they're going, why not me? How can I help? Take that in, feed the feral cat that's still sitting there. Eeks, it might be 2 years before they come back and rebuild, or the neighborhood can sustain all these extra cats. But they're doing that for you. They're doing it for you. They're those placeholders. They're those finders that find the cat that say, maybe I should get it checked out. They're the ones that are adopting your cats, fostering those cats. They're your cat heroes. And they live there, they help you find cats, they post on Facebook, they catch cats, they don't sleep at night, they house your cats, they pay for its medical bills, all those awesome things. So I really want you to just know that it's not just the organizations, but it's the residents that create that community awareness who can help those agencies continue the conversations about making cats the priority to make improvements for disaster situations, for response and support. So that's us, Outcast Cat Help. We have a table over here. That's what we do. We're a nonprofit. We do have equipment and resources to lend. We'll do trainings like this. We'll teach you how to operate a trap, trail camera, anything you want to do, anything to keep those cats home. That's our mission too. And we're going to do a question and answer.
I'm going to help with that. Absolutely amazing, and Glen Ellen is my neighborhood. So I did not know this woman. I didn't know about Outcast Cat Help until my neighborhood was the neighborhood in which everybody, including me, the person who's telling all of you how to be better prepared to save your animals, was searching for all their pets, but really, really, really worrying about the cats. And through the grapevine, even though we had no means of communication, we learned about the work that all of these amazing volunteers were doing, and I'm not going to be able to get through this right now. And that's how Kathy and I connected. They came to a meeting in Glen Ellen, made a presentation. They came out into the neighborhood.